Hello, everybody. My name is Jack, and welcome to episode 2 of the Nova Records podcast. Today's special guest is Brain.
Hey, I'm Brain. I run the Smooth Brain Nerd Show.
Yes, and there will be a pin to that in the description below. And without further ado, in popular tradition on this podcast, I know there's only 2 episodes, but still, the guest gets to decide exactly what we are doing, and we are going to do it. So, Brain, what do you want us to do today?
Okay, so today's topic, we're going to be taking 2 fictional characters and pitting them against each other, like making our own death battles.
Okay, this fun concept. So, did you have any ideas for the first lineup?
I do actually, and you're always welcome to submit some ideas too.
Okay, but go ahead. I want the guest to our special guest here to give us the first go at this.
Okay,
New
so
topic.
our first matchup is Gru from Despicable Me versus Megamind.
Oh, Gru versus Megamind. They're both pretty smart. They both have legions of something that helps them build all their stuff, and they both have several quadrillions of dollars worth of gadgets.
Alright, so let's look at some feats real quick. Well, Megamind is essentially able to take on a Superman clone by himself. Well, with the help of minions, I suppose.
Well, yes, but
Gru created a device that could shrink down the moon, one of the biggest entities in our solar system.
well, he didn't create it, but he stole it from the government.
Perhaps, but he was the one to do it.
But yes, he was the one responsible for shrinking the moon and stealing it.
In terms of strength, Gru himself was able to dodge several missiles back to back.
Which means he is athletic and has plenty of stamina and agility behind him.
Megamind was able to create a disguising device that was able to fool Titan for a little bit.
As well as Roxanne.
True.
So they're both geniuses. They both have...
Yeah, they're both really smart, and they're really strong, too.
And they both have very impressive feats, such as taking on essentially a Superman ripoff, and like you said, and literally being able to dodge rockets, and getting punched by a guy who essentially was given superhuman serum.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is that Megamind takes the cake in IQ, but Gru is more about brute strength.
I agree.
So who are we going to decide?
So
I would give this one to Gru, just because he's pretty close to IQ in terms of Megamind, and he's a lot stronger.
physically, yes. Though, you gotta remember, Megamind also has that big mech suit that he uses in the end of the movie. Sure, it doesn't last long, but surely he would be able to do something to Gru with it.
Maybe, but Gru also fought off a shark.
Yeah, that's fair. His arm was literally unscathed after getting it bitten 3 times in the same movie.
So he also gets the points for durability.
So he's probably...
Alright, so the winner of this round is probably
Gru, because he has the most dexterity, endurance, and strength, and athleticism.
Ready for the next matchup?
Sure.
Our next matchup is Minecraft Steve versus the Terraria player.
Oh. So the Minecraft...
Alright, again, let's look at some feats here.
So
Minecraft Steve was able to take on a hulking iron giant, dragon, and ancient...
and an ancient demon monster.
Yeah.
Whereas
the Terraria player, he was able to take on some smaller enemies like King Slime, but he's also able to defeat freaking Cthulhu himself, one of the most powerful entities in all of fiction.
So he does get some points for being very, very strong.
I would say the Terraria player gets a point for strength, but Steve is he's better at resource management. He was able to carry what's the heaviest block in Minecraft? Let's say netherite, right?
The gold block.
So say you filled every single slot in your inventory with 64 netherite, you could carry all that and still walk at normal speed just fine.
And don't you actually have a video about that proving how he's actually one of the strongest characters in video game history?
It was, but it was about gold blocks.
That's what I said. That's why I said gold blocks.
But even then, he's still pretty freaking tough. So I'd say they're almost evenly matched in terms of strength.
Yeah.
Now in IQ, Steve is not really giving given any hints on what he needs to do or where he needs to go, whereas the Terraria player has a guide to.
Ooh, you cut out there for a second.
Oh, I was saying that Minecraft Steve isn't really told where to go, what to do, whereas the Terraria player has a guide to help him.
And Steve also knows how to build literal tools out of sticks at the start of the game.
True,
He can literally.
but you also got to remember that the Terraria player can craft god killing like items without any hints.
Well, I mean, Stoke and Steve, if you want to get technical.
Technically speaking, but either way, I'd say they're also both pretty tied in IQ.
So what about endurance?
So endurance.
How
The
long?
thing with endurance is that
Steve
in their
can.
base forms, neither of them are very strong. But when they drink potions and put on armor and all that stuff, they're both really freaking tough.
Yes, but base endurance though. I mean, they don't. I mean, Steve, if you run for like what 5-7 minutes, you're already just down to a walk because you don't have any more hunger.
Yeah, and without eating, if you don't eat for too long, he's all the way down to half heart.
Yeah.
Whereas the Terraria player never eats and never drinks.
So I would give this. I would give the stamina and endurance point to Terraria.
All right, last major thing is speed. Minecraft Steve can get pretty fast, especially if he has something like an ice boat.
Or a speed potion if you just want to run on your feet.
Or a speed potion, but it's not nearly as fast.
Or
Terraria player, he can go fast. He can run really fast, but I don't think he could go to Steve's level of speed.
How fast you can get Steve with certain little bugs and glitches, like the ice boat on the minecart.
Unless you have one of the wings, like end game wings, like wings you would fight the moon world with.
Yeah.
So again, these two characters are pretty evenly matched, which makes it hard to decide who would win this one. But I think.
Well, I guess we do have.
Probably.
I guess we have one more point then, which would guess would be dexterity. How many hits can they take before they break? I mean, Steve, you only get.
That kind of goes with durability, though.
Oh yeah, durability and dexterity are the same thing.
I would say that Steve wins, but it'd be a really tough fight.
Yes, it would definitely be a long and very, very gruesome fight.
Alright, you ready for the next matchup?
Yes. Actually, I had an idea for one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. What if someone put the... one second. I thought I had it, but I lost it. Okay, here's kind of a given, but... Deadshot versus Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Yeah, I would say Deadpool takes it.
Deadshot. They're matched on everything else but endurance. Because Deadpool easily takes the take for endurance.
And healing ability.
Yeah, so I would say Deadpool.
Because Deadpool obviously has his healing factor, whereas Deadshot's just a mercenary. Also, well, I do think I do think though Deadshot would take the cake for intelligence simply because Deadpool is just kind of careless, whereas Deadshot is very smart and he took years of training to get as accurate as he is.
I guess that's true.
So the only things he really has going for him are, I guess, intelligence and I guess combat ability because he's also a mercenary, whereas Deadpool just kind of runs around and shoots people.
Yeah.
Deadpool's more crazy, but I think that gives him the upper hand.
Yeah. You ready for the next matchup?
Sure.
Alright. Voldemort versus Sauron.
Oh, I would have to say Sauron.
So, really? So here's what I was thinking. Voldemort has has a spell that can kill anyone instantly. He also has several blinding spells, disarming spells. Whereas Sauron, sure, he's the embodiment of evil, but what does he really have to back that up? He's physically stronger, yes, and Voldemort's nothing without his wand. But if Voldemort had his wand and Sauron was in this form, I don't know. I don't think he would really last very long against Voldemort.
But what if he did something to knock Voldemort's wand away from him?
In that case, if Voldemort couldn't get his wand in time, Sauron probably would have cut his head off.
Or if Sauron would have ended up destroying his wand beyond repair.
So in that case, it'd be a battle of smarts, which I'd say probably goes to Sauron.
Just because I'm guessing I haven't really seen Lord of the Rings and I never really finished the Harry Potter series, so I'm basing this solely off of stuff that we have discussed and stuff that I already know from prior knowledge of the characters.
But again, based on who wins, it's really situational. Depends on certain situations.
So it depends on if
There's certain scenarios in where they both could win.
like said, if Voldemort got his wand taken away from him and couldn't get it back in time, then Sauron could win. Whereas if Voldemort was able to keep his hands around his wand the entire fight, then he had the upper hand.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But when it comes down to a battle of wits and strength, though, Sauron takes it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I guess we'll call this one a draw, because it's very situational.
Yeah, I'll say it's a draw.
Okay.
So, all right, next matchup. You ready?
Who is next up on your line?
I actually forgot this one. I think it was another Lord of the Rings character. Oh yes, Gandalf versus Dumbledore.
Oh, another Harry Potter versus LOTR?
Yeah, I know, a real original, but I thought it was a good one.
Oh, I agree. They're both very powerful wizards.
I'd say Dumbledore is way smarter than Voldemort, but he's probably not
Voldemort. Dumbledore's smarter than Voldemort?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You said Voldemort, not Gandalf.
I'm talking about Dumbledore, just Dumbledore right now.
Oh, you're
Dumbledore
talking...
is a lot smarter than Voldemort.
Yes.
Gandalf, by the time of the second movie, essentially becomes an archangel, like helping them, Frodo and Sam along the way.
Yeah.
So in terms of raw power, I say Gandalf, but like maybe in smarts, probably Dumbledore.
Okay. And they both.
So again, we gotta like look at some factors, look at some feats.
Well,
we gotta compare the two. We gotta decide on one.
So the other question would be, so Dumbledore, I know relies on his wand like every other wizard in the Harry Potter universe does.
Exactly.
Whereas Gandalf, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, and you can fact check me on this, he can use his magic despite if he has his staff or not.
True, but his magic is severely limited if he doesn't have a staff.
Yes, but at least he can still do some things without having to rely on his big wooden stick.
I suppose that's true. So I'd say Gandalf.
Gandalf has it in powers. Because he can still do stuff without relying on his tool.
I suppose so. Alright, next matchup.
Well, wait, did we decide who won? I just know that was one of the factoids, but like, who's smarter?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we decided Gandalf won.
Well, I was gonna say who's smarter, then.
Probably Gandalf, honestly. I'm not saying Dumbledore's dumb. He's actually really intelligent, but Gandalf is a little smarter.
Okay. So yeah, then I think Gandalf would most likely take the cake here.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Boba Fett versus Star-Lord.
Oh.
Look, I love Star-Lord a lot, but I'm thinking Boba Fett.
I do too have to agree that Boba Fett wins, and that's not just because I'm a diehard Star Wars fan.
Here's the thing: Return of the Jedi and even Empire Strikes Back didn't do Boba Fett justice, because in the comics he was an absolute beast.
Yes, he was able to. He literally.
Again, Star-Lord was a beast in the comics too, but I don't think he was a beast to nearly the extent of Boba Fett.
Also, the fact that Boba Fett has Beskar armor, which is virtually impervious to all forms of damage.
Especially space blasters like the one Star-Lord uses.
And despite Star-Lord's blasters being fueled by the elements, they still would probably just be nullified by how just reliable the armor is that Mandalorians use. So
shots would not pierce Boba Fett. They wouldn't even affect him the slightest.
No.
Boba Fett also takes the edge in strength.
Yes, seeing as he was also raised on Kamino partially, as well as being trained in the Clone Wars by Cad Bane, who was one of the most ruthless bounty hunters out there.
He probably is the most ruthless bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Not to mention Boba also takes the cake in flying skills.
Yeah, despite them both being able to fly, Boba actually has a jetpack that also comes accompanied with a rocket launcher that is able to disable vehicles and destroy several things with one blast, as it is a high ordnance explosive, whereas Quill, he takes his boots off, he can't fly.
True. So I'm giving this one a Boba Fett.
Yeah. And survivability is honestly going to Boba, because not only can he survive in space...
Boba survived an explosion.
Yes. Also, while both of them can survive in space, Boba can survive in space while getting shot at, and also for firepower, because Boba has his blaster that he uses, the rocket launcher on the jetpack, as well as over a dozen gadgets between both of his wrists, including flamethrowers and micro rocket launchers. So,
yeah. Did you notice that Boba has survived in space without his helmet before, but Star-Lord didn't?
No.
He almost died in third Guardians of the Galaxy movie because he didn't have his helmet.
Yes. He only luckily survived because someone happened to have a spacesuit for him at the last minute. Whereas Boba, like Brain said, has literally survived for hours in space without any sort of protective gear.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the next one?
So yeah, Boba obviously
Boba wins.
Boba obviously takes the cake here. Okay, he would beat him before Star-Lord could even get out of his ship.
All right, we have 2 more matchups left. Actually, 3 more matchups.
Okay, and then I may see if I can have a couple more so we can get a couple more minutes out of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Elsa versus Frozone.
Elsa versus Frozone. Okay, so
they're nearly matched in ice powers.
Yes.
Frozone can create paths near instantly that you can glide across. But Elsa created an entire castle.
Yes, I will say Elsa did create an entire castle in a matter of minutes while singing, so
Okay. In terms of durability,
I would say
that's a hard one because Edna's suits are designed to last, but Elsa has survived in the middle of the ocean for hours.
Yes, well, Frozone also survived getting stepped on and thrown around by the Omnidroid in the first one.
True.
And those things, as we saw previously, were literally designed to terminate superheroes ruthlessly. And seeing as the Omnidroid was supposed to be the perfect variant, the fact that it didn't kill him after tossing him around for a good 10 seconds proves that he is very durable, even with the suit.
Yeah.
So we know both of them have pretty even dexterity and durability. Now,
yeah. So
stamina.
Now Elsa has some kind of sixth sense that allows her to sense voices coming from far away.
Yes, but I mean, if it's a one-on-one fight, though, I mean that would be more of a distraction, don't you think?
Maybe one of that distraction. I'm just going off abilities here, listing abilities.
Well, yes, but I feel like that would be more of a hindrance than a helper because it, like I said, it would seem like it would distract her more from the fight and get her more likely to be defeated if she just starts listening to voices.
So we going with Frozone?
Well, there is one more thing that Elsa might have on top of him.
What are you thinking?
Elsa can also make that permafrost ability. Remember what she did to Olaf, where she can make it to where the ice never melts around them.
That's true.
As long as her ability is on them, then they can't melt. As we saw whenever she gave Olaf it, as long as Olaf was, with them, he never melted.
But you know what? Honestly, I'm still thinking Frozone.
I do think so too. Also, the fact
that because he takes again, they're nearly matched and everything else, but Frozone has more experience. He's been a superhero for years.
Yeah, whereas Elsa's still a little bit uncontrolled, even in the second movie.
Yeah.
So Frozone takes the cake simply because, he's had more experience with his abilities, and he's a superhero, so he's been training in, both combative and defensive, tactics for years. All right, who's your next lineup?
Okay. Swamp Thing.
Okay.
Versus Man-Thing.
Again, these two are like borderline identical people to each other.
Exactly.
They're like the polar opposites of each other.
Most people think that Swamp Thing came first and Man-Thing copied, but it's actually Man-Thing that came first, believe it or not.
Yeah. But I mean, their backgrounds and the way their characters are set up are borderline identical. I mean, they're both.
That's why I thought this was such an interesting matchup because they're almost the exact same character.
Yeah. And, they have very, very, very near identical abilities.
Yeah, except I think maybe Man Thing is a little stronger.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just look at all that hulking muscle right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like the audience can't see it, but you just take a picture and compare the two.
Yeah. And I agree. So I would say that in the end, it would either have to come out to a draw because their abilities are just that much similar, or that Man Thing would have to take the cake.
Because Swamp Thing's also a little smarter.
Yeah.
So, I'd call this one a draw too, but let's try not to have any more draws because we already got two.
Yeah. There's just
Right,
too many
ready?
characters that are just like borderline identical of a character, so it's hard not to turn them into just like it's hard to choose.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's the next lineup?
This is actually our last matchup of mine, at least. You might. This seems like your kind of matchup.
I have two more on my mind for us before we close.
All right. Heavy from Team Fortress 2
Okay.
versus Wrecker from Star Wars.
Oh. This one's tough.
This one seems right up your alley.
Well, okay, so we know that Wrecker is an enhanced clone trooper, which gives him an upper hand.
Clone troopers are already pretty freaking tough on their own.
Yes, especially with the Phase 2 or the Generation 1.5 Commando armor, which is what they use. They use the Gen 1.
His armor is built to last, and he was able to lift up a tank by himself.
Yeah. So, something you may not know is that the Clone Force 99, while most of them use standard Phase 1.5 and Phase 2, modified Phase 1.5 and Phase 2 Commando armor, since Wrecker is so big, he actually has to use the Phase 1.5 or Generation 1.5 Commando armor as his, because it was made for larger framed people like the Clone Commandos. It's the same armor that you see if you've ever played the 2005 Republic Commandos game. And so,
Yeah.
So knowing that armor is literally it's considered some of, if not the toughest clone trooper armor out there, only beat by maybe the Phase 3 clone armor, or the Beskar armor.
Okay, so now we looked at Wrecker. Let's take a look at Heavy. Let's look at some of the things he's done. Obviously, Wrecker takes the cake in terms of strength and armor. But look at this giant gun that Heavy's constantly walking around with. This gun.
I mean,
would like stand a chance against Wrecker's armor.
Oh yeah. Also, the fact that if you remember right, the clone's armor was made to absorb energy blasts, not direct impacts from solid projectiles like bullets. So
yeah, because obviously Heavy's minigun would overpower a blaster.
Obviously. Also, because the rounds are moving significantly faster because bullet velocity is faster than, concentrated photon energy. And whereas Wrecker's blaster does have more versatility in how it can be modded out, because you can have it in a pistol configuration, a rifle configuration, or a sniper, or a whatever. You can pretty much configure the DC-17M to be made for any class of combat. But despite that, changing out the accessories on it to get it to operate like that take time, and so he would pretty much be stuck with whatever he brought with him. And like Brain said, the time that it would take him to do that, Heavy would have already emptied several hundred rounds into him in that time frame.
Yeah, also, and Heavy also, I would say he also takes the cake in terms of durability, because Wrecker is shown to have been almost knocked out by an explosion. Whereas Heavy faces explosions head on every single day.
If you've ever played the Team Fortress 2 games, you've seen he's literally walked through several Demo Man grenades that are at his feet and survives.
Sure, he's the slowest character in the game, and he's also a lot slower than Wrecker, but he takes the cake in terms of durability.
Yeah. And the fact that he also has access to instant healing abilities and respawn abilities. Because in the games, you can respawn as many times as you need until the round is over.
Yeah, because respawning is actually a canon thing that happens in CF2. So
Yeah.
essentially, he can't die.
Because every time he gets killed, his body is just reconstructed inside of inside of the respawn machine. And he just walks out and keeps gunning. So,
Did you know they had Team Fortress 2 Funko Pops? I just now learned about that.
huh?
I might have to get one.
That's
Anyway.
actually kind of neat. But so in terms of like just survivability and dexterity, Heavy is definitely there. And also, I think Heavy takes the cake in firepower as well, because, like said, Wrecker's blaster can only do so much before, Heavy just respawns again, and the armor was made to stop energy blast, not blunt kinetic energy coming from solid projectiles. So his armor would probably get shredded like halfway through the fight, and he wouldn't be able to do much to Heavy unless he was able to land a couple lucky headshots or destroy the respawn terminal.
So, I think the winner of this round is Heavy.
Yeah.
Now, Jack, do you have any other suggestions?
Let's see. Here's one that I don't think people put up enough to each other. They're from the same universe, but you never see them lined up enough, I don't think. And that would be Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne. Or Batman. I mean, if you think about it...
I'd have to go with Batman.
Well, hear me out, though. They're virtually identical. They're both genius billionaires with several $1 billion into their companies, and they're both known and loved nationwide. So, from just a direct look at things, they are virtually identical characters in their own universe.
So, look, let me put it into this perspective for you. Superman is essentially the god of the DC universe. He's probably the strongest character in the DC universe, besides like the obvious, like the writer. But compare the amount of times Lex Luthor has killed Superman to the amount of times Batman has killed Superman.
Oh, Lex has killed him several times.
Okay, but Batman, on the other hand, has killed him even more.
But I mean, you got to give each of them credit though, for even being able to stand their own against Superman, being just regular human beings with advanced technology equipment.
True. But I also think about it like this. Lex Luthor needs a massive hulking suit of armor to stand a chance against Superman, but Batman does not.
Well, unless you count those like two times that he used his bat mech.
I was also gonna say, except for the few times where he's used the Hellbat, his strong suit of armor.
Yeah. But even then, he's only had to use that maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the comics. And every other time, he has taken him on with maybe a little bit of added armor on his original uniform, but that's about it. So
I'm still saying Batman.
Yeah. I will say they are about matched in gadgetry, so you can't really give one or the other to that. I mean, they're both super rich, and they can both call up pretty much anything they need in a time of need. But I do think Batman might take the cake because Lex Luthor simply just does not have the martial arts background that Batman does. Because Batman trained for decades to become a master martial artist in virtually every form of combative technique out there, whereas Lex relies more on his money and his suits to defend him against everything.
True.
So I do agree with you there. Simply from a physical look on everything, I feel like Batman is also faster, seeing as he's able to literally sneak around behind people's eyes while they're staring at them. Like someone like Gordon literally turns around, and when he turns back around like 10 seconds later, Batman's gone. I mean, he's got speed and physical strength on his side.
Yeah, so... Yeah, you're right. Do we have any other matchups we want to go to?
Let's see.
Or will that be it for today?
Ooh. One second. I had him on my mind.
Ready when you are.
I don't remember the name, but it was a character from Marvel. He was a kid, and he had like a superpower baseball bat.
Ooh. I feel like I know who you're talking about,
Yeah.
but I also can't remember his name. I'm just gonna look him up. Marvel baseball kid. Maybe we'll find his way up.
You know what I'm talking about? He had like a magical baseball bat.
I'm trying to. No.
Oh wait. Never mind that.
Never mind it.
Yeah, never mind it. I have one.
All right.
Punisher versus the TF2 Scout.
Punisher.
You think?
Oh yeah, easily Punisher.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you immediately, but think about it though. Scout has a shotgun that he keeps on him at all times. He has a pistol, as well as a baseball bat.
Okay, but there's a comic called Punisher Kills the Entire Marvel Universe. That should say something.
I will give him credit though, and Punisher has always been one of, if not my favorite Marvel character. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love him as a character, and I wish he got more time, both in comics and on screen. But hear me out though, because remember, Scout can also respawn like the Heavy can.
Perhaps.
So that's really, well, I guess that's really the only.
But the fact that Punisher killed Deadpool, Iron Man, Hulk, Magneto, all these characters all by himself, coming out unscathed, that should really say something.
Yeah. I do get the feeling that he is a bit of an underrated character, and especially as an anti-hero, he deserves more love for who he is. And I will admit, he is very strong for just some gun freak. Or for someone who's seen as just some gun-obsessed, psychopathic assassin. Hitman. Yeah. But he is very powerful, don't get me wrong. I guess the only thing that was really... I think the only thing Scout has going for him is the respawn. Because Punisher has a much larger...
Again, he can't die, but he would be dying for, like, years on end. Non-stop. So he wouldn't really have a chance to fight back.
And maybe by the time he got one shot off on Punisher... I mean, though you also got to remember, Scout is also significantly faster than Punisher.
Perhaps, but Punisher also beat Quicksilver, so he has really fast reflexes.
And he has proved to be able to beat people who are significantly faster than Scout, even.
Oh, yeah.
So the only thing Scout really has going for him in that terms is just the fact that he just essentially can't die.
Yeah.
And even then, though, I'm pretty sure Punisher would figure out where he's coming from pretty quick and destroy the respawn machine almost immediately, and then, just one more, shot to Scout and he's dead.
Yeah, so I'm still saying Punisher for me.
Okay, yeah, I agree there.
Alright, I think that's the last matchup of the day.
Yep.
I'm Smooth Brain. You can always see my YouTube channel. I've got some big stuff in the works right now.
And I will be linking that down in the description. If you guys enjoyed what you heard today, please give this a like. We are going to try and release a new podcast episode every Monday to every other Monday. We're going to do 6 episodes this first season, and then the 6th episode is actually going to be a big get together with everybody. So I can't wait. We can't wait for that, and it is going to be not live stream, but like it's going to be in person, and not just with the logo. And so yeah, keep your eyes out for that. And I'm Jack. He's Brain, and we'll catch you later.